What?
What?
What the hell is this?
Harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
Give the governor harumph.
Harumph!
You watch your ass.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
Let the show begin.
Hey everybody, this is David Heretic coming at you with another edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. And tonight, okay, making their debut on the channel tonight, we have Violator. Yes, indeed. How about that? Violator making their debut on the channel.
Violator 1, Spotty Boy 0.
Before we go any further, for those of you who are feeling inclined to doing all the clicks and the likes and the bibbity bop, do me a favor, before you do all that stuff, please watch the whole video first, okay? Give me a chance to actually earn those clicks and likes. Now, after the video's done, still feel like doing all those clicks and likes, then by all means, feel free to click away. This comes as a request from Salo de Souza Jr. And Salo wanted to see me react to this song by Violator called Toxic Death. Now, have I heard this song before? No, I have not. To the best of my knowledge, this does not resonate with me in any way, shape, or form. However, there's always a possibility I may have heard this song in passing and I just don't realize it. So as always, if I start listening to the song and I suddenly go, you gotta be kidding me, this is that song, I'll let you know.
That's the truth.
You know me, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Let's see, this was posted by Ordered to Thrash, all one word, no spaces whatsoever. And the video has 24,000 views. It'll get you there. Other than that, there's really nothing else left to say. Link to the original video will be down below in the video description for your viewing pleasure at your leisure. Let's get started. What do you say? Are you ready? Are you ready? Because here we go. All right, here we go. Violator, Toxic Death. Short, sweet, and to the point. All right, let's do this.
All right, boy, let's do this.
Look around you. This is the valley of death.
Annihilation is a prophet. Apocalypse is not a prophet. Prepare for toxic death. Prepare for toxic death. Yes, the eyes are burning pain. When they become your enemy, yes, the runs in your face. It's that violent by religion. Annihilation is a prophet. Apocalypse is not a prophet anymore. Prepare for toxic death. Prepare for toxic death.
Very funny movie.
Slow down, 1 military
Definitely getting a lot of cues from Kill 'Em All, from Metallica's first album, Kill 'Em All. Getting a lot of cues. A lot of the same, not riffs from a notational standpoint, but from a rhythmic standpoint. The tempo, it's fast. I like that. The usage of straight time and half time, not straight time and half time, double time and straight time. I prefer the straight time. I like the freedom that the straight time feel allows in the song. If you listen to when they're in their either straight time or double time, listen to the drumming in particular, and you're going to hear a lot more freedom and a lot smoother transitions in the straight time. When you're in that double time at this tempo, you have got to be on point. Your focus has to be 100% on that snare placement. And they're doing it on the upbeats to boot. So not only are they going at a double time feel at a very fast tempo, but they're also putting the snare placement on those upbeats in stark contrast to the downbeats where guitar and bass are playing. Guitar and bass are on the downbeats, the snares on the upbeats. So it's a constant assault of accents coming from both the drums and the guitar and bass in unison. When it comes time to do a fill, the fills when they're in the double time, the fills from the drums feel stiff. They do feel a little locked, and they have to be, because at that tempo, if you're off even the slightest tiny little bit, you're gonna wreck the train completely. So it's very rigid, it's very stiff, and it's very regimented when it comes to their fills on the drums in that double time. Now, when they switch to the straight time, listen to the fills, and they're gonna feel a lot more relaxed. They're gonna feel a lot more creative. And the reason for that is that there's a little more give. There's a little more leeway in there. So it's interesting to hear the two contrasts. As far as progression goes, as far as the chordal progression goes, it's pretty straightforward. Typical thrash style. Nothing wrong with it. It's being done well. What they are playing is being played very cleanly, very accurately. I'm just not considering say it's all that creative, because I'm getting serious flashbacks of not just Metallica, but I mean there's other thrash bands that I'm Testament. It's reminding me of Testament. It's reminding me of Anthrax. Not so much Megadeth. I was kind of expecting to say Megadeth, but honestly, I'm not really hearing a lot of Megadeth in here. I'm hearing more Exodus in here than I'm hearing Megadeth. But what I'm really hearing, I'm definitely hearing old Metallica. I'm definitely hearing Testament, and I'm definitely hearing Anthrax. Between those three bands, they're very similar in style and approach as far as riffing goes. Vocal style, actually, from a vocal standpoint, I'm getting more Tom Araya. I'm getting more Slayer. When it comes to a vocal approach, like a hybrid between Tom Araya and Bobby Blitz from Overkill. It's kind of in between those two. It doesn't sound bad. It fits the song. It absolutely fits the song. So I have no issue with it. I have no problem with it. So I mean, it sounds good. It sounds good. I'm not complaining about this at all. Not one bit. Everything sounds just fine. I'm I'm just pointing out some things that I'm noticing in the song, like the double time feel. I am kind of glad that they got the snare on the upbeats when they do switch to double time. I'm kind of glad that they have it on the upbeats because it gives it that illusion of rushing, without actually rushing. It makes the song feel a little bit faster than it actually is. So I'm glad they did that. I'm really glad they did that, actually. Let's finish this out and we'll get to the review. Now that I think about it, the riffing sounds very Slayer-ish as well. That ending with the triplet. Ba 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 ba. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's interesting. Wonder why. I wonder why they decided to go with that. Because it goes in stark contrast to everything else we hear in the song, which was 16ths. 16ths and 8ths through the entire song. And at the very last measure, they go with triplets. Da 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 da. Huh. I mean, it's not bad. It doesn't sound bad. I'm not complaining. I'm curious to know why. Why, after they spent the entire time assaulting us with 16th notes and 8th notes, why at the very last measure go on a triplet? Is there a reason, or is it? Listen, it could be something as simple as it just felt like doing it. Yeah, we just felt like it. It's kind of like in the Warriors. For those of you that are seeing the Warriors, it's like when they end up on the very last scene on the beach, and Swan is talking to Luther from the Rogues. He's like, "Why'd you do it?" And Luther's like, "No reason. I just like doing things like that." I kind of have that vision when it comes to that last measure. You ask the guys of Violator, "Why'd you do that? Why'd you put the triplet in there?" No reason. We just like doing things like that. I could totally see that being their answer too. And look, that's perfectly fine. It sounded good. I'm not complaining. I'm curious. It was there a purpose behind that? Was there a reason, or was it just simply as explained as when we just felt like doing it? It just felt right. Okay. Hey, listen, it's all good, man. As long as it's done cleanly. Not a lot to talk about, honestly, that I didn't talk about during the course of the reaction. So we're going to hit just some bullet points, bing, bop, boop, and we're going to have a short review. So let me get my thoughts together. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. I'll see you in the review and we'll talk about it. Well, there you go, folks. That was Violator with Toxic Death. This was a request from Salo de Souza Jr. Okay, like I said, there's really not a whole lot to talk about. I already covered pretty much everything I wanted to say during the course of the reaction. So we're going to hit some bullet points and we're going to call it a day. So let's start off with the score and we'll get to those bullet points. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give that a 7.8. Yep, 7.8. I feel good about that score. Let me tell you why.
Why?
Okay, first things first, a 7.8. What does that mean? Well, a 7.8 would translate to a really good skill rating because overall, I think this was actually a really good song. It would also get 4 out of 5 stars and a B+ letter grade. Yeah, that's B as in boy, B+ letter grade. So there you go, a 7.8, really good skill rating, 4 out of 5 stars, and a B+ letter grade. Now, how did I come up with that score? So glad you asked. It's not so much what they played, it's how they played it. You're going to hear that a lot when it comes to myself and thrash music. Because let's be honest, the chordal progressions in most thrash music, really not that hard to follow. Lots of minor threes. Okay, now here's the thing. From the minor 3, when we're talking about dissension, minor 3 could go either to a major 2, a natural 2, or could go to a flat 2. And a lot of bands will rely on one or the other. Like if you look at Metallica, a lot of Metallica songs will go flat 3, natural 2, root. While if you look at a lot of Slayer tunes, Slayer relies very heavily on the minor 3 to the flat 2 to the root. So it depends on the band you're listening to and what they find themselves leaning more towards one way or the other, okay? But it's still a descending line from a 3 to a 2 to a root. You're gonna find a lot of that. When it comes to ascension, 3 to the 4, yes, but you're gonna find more like 3 to 6, 3 to 6, 7 root. Or they'll skip the 3rd completely and they'll go, root to the 4 to the 5 to the 6, 7 root. Or 4 to 5 down to the 3 to root. There's a lot of typical riffing that happens in thrash metal. And is there anything wrong with that? No, it's one of the cornerstones of what thrash is all about, is riffing. And riffing is something that you're going to find in pretty much every thrash metal song you can think of, where they will focus more, not so much on notation, what's being played, but how they play it, how fast we can pick. We're going to get this outrageously fast tempo, and we're going to play 16th notes. And we're going to play them so tightly, so fast, that it's going to blow people's mind. One of the bands that was notorious for that was Megadeth. Megadeth was notorious for, however fast Metallica plays, we're going to play faster. We're going to turn up the tempo, and instead of playing 8 notes, we're going to do 16th notes. And that was Dave Mustaine's ego, because he, got kicked out and whatnot. But, I mean, he was just trying to make a point. I don't blame him. I really don't blame him. If if I were in his position, I might feel a little petty myself. But at the same time, it wasn't just that band. It was every band. And you'll hear interviews with members of thrash metal bands where they'll be asked directly, was there a really competition to see who could play the fastest? And you'll see the members of the band kind of look at each other and kind of smirk a little bit, and then they'll give the political answer of, nah, we're all in the same brotherhood and we're all here trying to do the same thing. But you saw them glance at each other like, so there actually was. It's just no one's going to come out and say it. But listening to this, you heard a lot of that. You heard a lot of riffing, a lot of the chordal progressions, not that impressive, not that difficult, but the speed and the cleanliness of what they were playing at, yeah, that was done very well. I made the comparisons to a lot of bands, and the more I thought about it, I mentioned old Metallica, I mentioned Anthrax, I mentioned Testament. And the funny thing is, when I was talking about the vocals, I mentioned Tom Araya and I mentioned Slayer's style. And the more I listened to the song, I heard those accents on 3/4 with that dissension. Down, down, down. I'm like, oh my God, that's Slayer. So there's a little bit of Slayer in the playing as well, for sure. And like I said, when it comes to music and songwriting and playing, there's nobody is original. Nobody's original. Lemmy said it. Ozzy said it. Ozzy has, I have a clip of Ozzy saying it. I'll put it in here somewhere.
Perfectly honest, there's nobody is original. Nobody's original out there. We're all thieves.
We all borrow from each other, and it's understood. It's understood that that's going to happen. Don't take it personally. You know, when someone steals, quote unquote, or borrows, quote unquote, from you, don't take it personally, because down the road, they may do something that you steal or borrow from later. You know, and that's just something that's understood in the rock and metal community. You know, we're all going to borrow from each other, and we're all going to hopefully grow from it and improve ourselves from it. So, you know, you definitely hear all these, you know, different bands who are very similar in style to what these guys brought to the table, or vice versa. You can look at it the other way around too. You know, these guys, you know, they have a sound where they clearly did borrow from others. And that's okay. I'm sure there are other bands down the road who probably borrowed from them in some way, shape, or form. The music was clean. It was tight. It was well executed. I was really kind of impressed a little bit by the usage of the snare on the upbeats at this tempo and speed. But like I said, you know, when it came to doing fills, it was a little stiff, because at that double time feel, it's gonna be a lot harder to pull off a fill at that with that snare placement at that double time feel, as opposed to when they went to straight time and you felt the drumming a little more relaxed and had a little more leeway and a little more freedom to be able to pull off a more diverse type of fill, as opposed to when we're at the double time. You're so locked in with that snare placement on the upbeats in stark contrast to what's happening with guitar and bass on the downbeats. So, you know, there was that. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's just something I noticed. Song was short, sweet, to the point. I like that. For a song like this, I couldn't imagine listening to a song like this that went on for like 6 minutes. I don't think I can handle it, honestly. But, you know, 3.5, 4.5 minutes, yeah, no problem. I can stomach that, no worries. So I got no issue with the song. I got no problem with the song. I think it was, like I said, it's not, I wouldn't say it's impressive from a songwriting standpoint, but from an execution standpoint, yeah, it was very well done. I got to give credit where credit's due. It was clean playing across the board from everybody, guitar, bass, and drums. So this is how I'm coming up with the really good score of 7.8. I feel good about that score, and that's where we're going to stay. So let's wrap everything up here in a nice shiny bow, shall we? We have a 7.8, which is a really good skill rating, 4 to 5 stars, and a B+ letter grade. Take your pick, I don't care, whichever one of those floats your boat. Final word, final score, I have spoken. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. Hope you all enjoyed the show. Hopefully I was able to entertain you. If I was able to put a smile on your face and brighten your day, then I did my job, and I'm so glad I could do it. If you guys feel like joining the fan base, go ahead and click on that button down there. If you guys want to like the video, go ahead and like the video. If you guys want to ring the bell, go ahead and ring the bell. It honestly doesn't make any difference at all to me, but if you guys feel like doing these things, well, then by all means, feel free to do so. Well, that's going to do it for the night, folks. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, this is David Heretic signing off, reminding you to stay fabulous and support each other. Later. Peace.